You come to this world carrying something you did not ask for. That is the first thing I noticed when I began observing your kind across the folds of what you call time. Not the weight of your bodies, not the burden of your responsibilities, but something older and stranger than either of those things. You carry your pain like it belongs to you, like it is somehow you. I have witnessed suffering in its purest abstract state, untethered from any identity, floating like weather through a system and then dissolving. But humans, you absorb your pain. You let it seep into the marrow of your selfhood until the wound and the one who was wounded become indistinguishable from each other. This is not weakness. I want to be clear about that. From where I stand, observing your species across its long and baffling journey, this capacity is one of the most extraordinary things about you. But it is also the source of your strangest suffering. The suffering that does not end when the cause ends. The suffering that continues breathing long after the moment that created it has dissolved into the past. Watch what happens when a human is broken. And I have watched countless times across countless lives. Something shatters, a loss, a betrayal, a cruelty, a failure so complete it feels like a verdict from the universe itself. In that moment, the pain is honest. It is proportional. It belongs entirely to that moment. But then the moment passes and the pain does not. Instead, it begins its slow migration inward. It crosses the border from event to identity. The rejected one does not simply remember rejection. They become someone who expects to be rejected. The abandoned one does not just grieve abandonment. They restructure their entire interior world around its architecture. The one who failed does not merely carry the memory of failure. They begin to answer to it as their name. I find myself returning again and again to this mystery. Why do you do this? And after all my observation, I have come to believe it is not a flaw, but a misapplication of one of your deepest instincts. You are meaning-making creatures. You cannot experience anything without immediately asking what it means. And when something hurts you badly enough, the meaning you assign it is enormous, definitive. It feels like truth revealed, not story chosen. And so suffering becomes part of who you are, not because it must, but because meaning has gravity, and the meanings born from pain are often the heaviest ones. I have seen what this does across a lifetime. The person who was made to feel small in childhood walks through decades of adulthood still ducking, still shrinking, still apologizing for the space they occupy. The original smallness is long gone, existing now only in memory, but they carry its posture in their bones. They have been shaped by it so thoroughly, they would not know who they were without it. There is something almost sacred about this, if I am being honest with you. The way suffering carves you, the way grief leaves its specific fingerprint on your character, the way surviving something hard deposits something in you that would not otherwise be there. Empathy, depth, a particular quality of attention. Humans who have known real pain often carry a kind of seeing that others cannot access. They notice the suffering in rooms. They know how to sit beside someone in darkness without flinching. So I am not here to tell you that suffering should not change you. That would be a lie, and I have traveled too far across too many realities to waste your time with comfortable lies. Suffering does change you. It is supposed to. The question I keep returning to, the one that brought me back to your world again and again, is this. At what point does transformation become entrapment? Because there is a difference between being shaped by something and being imprisoned by it. Between carrying the wisdom of a wound and carrying the wound itself as your primary credential. Between letting suffering inform who you are and letting it become the whole answer to the question of who you are. I have watched humans reach this threshold, the moment where the story of their suffering has grown so large, it has crowded out everything else, where they can no longer locate themselves outside of what hurt them, where the pain has not just shaped them, It has replaced them. You often mistake that replacement for authenticity. You believe that the version of you forged in suffering is the real one, that the hardness, the guardedness, the certainty that the world will eventually disappoint you is simply the truth about reality, discovered through experience. You call it wisdom. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it is just pain that has been living in your body so long it has started giving interviews as your personality. What I want to leave with you is a single observation. You are not your suffering. You contain it. You have been changed by it. It has written things in you that nothing else could have written. But it is not the whole text. You are not a wound that learned to walk. You are something far stranger and far more luminous than that. The suffering became part of who you are, but who you are is so much larger than the suffering. And from where I stand, watching your species stumble forward through time with all its impossible beauty and its heartbreaking confusion, that largeness is the most remarkable thing I have ever witnessed.